Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Spill the Tea Lou for yet another 7 p.m. show. They just keep coming, all the 7 p.m s. So, hello and good evening, everybody. Thank you so much for being here. Lovely to see you all again. I see Rob. I see Dr. Tottenham Therapy. I saw Guess. I saw Flossie. Dave Boys here. There's so many of you, I'm actually running out of breath when I'm trying to say all of your names. Lovely Luke is also in the house. Welcome, 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 everybody. Before we start the show, I would first of all like to give a very lovely shout out to my very lovely dentist who I saw today. I was not 100% confident when I told you earlier about the 7 p.m. show that we would enjoy the 7 p.m. show because I had to see the dentist this afternoon, and it was a new dentist that I had never seen before, and I want to give them a massive shout out because they were very lovely despite the fact that I do not take proper care of my teeth. You will see they're so much cleaner. All the tea I drink, all the tea and coffee I drink is ruining my teeth because I don't drink lots of tea and coffee, which obviously stains. I drink it with lots of sugar, which is very not good for the teeth. So the very lovely dentist not only didn't guilt me for all the tea and coffee and sugar I drink, but the dentist and the dentist nurse told me they were going to check out the YouTube channel. So if we see a dentist in the chat, it's my new very lovely dentist who took very good care of me today. So thank you very much to them. And they have left me in a state where I am not numb all on this side of my face where the filling that I needed to do. And I'm actually still able to do the show, which is phenomenal. So go team and go my lovely dentist. So thank you very much to them. Thank you very much to you guys for being here. I know it's a 7 p.m. show. I know that we normally just have a little bit of fun, but today we're doing serious talk. We are talking about Phil the Vill Foden, because our Phil is a bit of a villain at the minute, isn't he? He's a bit of a pantomime villain at the moment. All season, and probably a good chunk of last season, I have heard a lot of people talking about how Phil Foden has fallen off. He's not performing to the same level. He just doesn't seem to be all the way at the races. He seems to just, it seems like a bit of a slump, but now because it's going on so long, you're starting to go, oh, this is more than a little bit of a slump. It's quite serious. And then obviously we're in international break. It's nearly over. It's nearly over, people. I know people say it's over. It's not. Do you see, until club football comes back, international break isn't over. But so we're nearly there. We're nearly back to club football. But obviously, following the international break, a lot of comments have come out about Phil Foden and all the different things that's going on. And I thought, let's have a little chat, because you all enjoyed it when I did the Jack Grealish show. So I thought, Sachin, do you know what it is? Sometimes you have really good points and sometimes you're just really argumentative, being totally honest with you. FYI, he has been in a slump. FYI, we're going to talk about all the figures. So FYI, maybe just don't come in with rival agenda when you haven't even heard more than 5 minutes. Like, the show hasn't been live for 5 minutes. We've been here for 3.5 minutes. I've spoken about Phil Foden for about 20 seconds. So maybe if you could just not be argumentative and actually wait to hear what's said before you start going with rival agenda, that would be wonderful. Because the last few times you've come in being argumentative with comments like this, you've been completely wrong. So maybe just wait for the show first. That would be fantastic, because it's very argumentative right at the beginning before I've actually said anything. So yeah, thanks for that. Because normally when we have a conversation, you contribute quite a lot. I like the differing opinions, but you have to let me actually do the show before you argue with something I haven't said. Yes, you do get too excited sometimes. Sometimes I think you forget. Spill the tea, Lou. Conversation. Not rage bait, not anger, not agenda. Conversation. Whew. Breathe. Listen. Then if you have a different opinion, put it out there. But listen to what I have to say first. That would be phenomenal. Wills is in the house. He has joined us. Now, let us get started, because obviously there is a lot to talk about. There are a lot of figures we're going to talk about. There are a lot of reports we're going to talk about. These are not agendas. They're opinions. They're news reports. They are facts and figures that are gathered from algorithms and different things. And as always, when I talk about this stuff, I am going to be giving you all of the sources. I'm going to be showing you where all of the information is coming from, and I am going to be telling you whose quotes they are. Then at the end, I'll give you an opinion, and you can let me know if you agree or disagree. So let's get stuck in. Oh, I was like, why does that comment from Flossie keep popping up? New chats are coming in. And I can't see Flossie's comment. But you know what it is? It's because I've pinned it. And then I forgot that I pinned it. So instead of doing a poll today, because I was researching all of my agendas until the last minute, and actually after I was supposed to be live, I pinned Flossie's comment instead of doing a poll. So Flossie's comment was, it's party time at Teacup Castle. Be there or be square. So I can unpin that now, because every time I look at the live chat, I see Flossie. And I'm like, the same comment again. Flossie's like spamming the life out of this. No, I don't need to time you out, Sachin. You heard what I said. You said fair enough. You said you'll wait. So I don't really need to time you out. That's what I mean. Conversation, two-way. You say a thing, I say a thing. You hear the thing, I reply. It's very straightforward. I don't need to time you out. Unless you feel that you're going to say it again, then I might time you out. But no, if you think you can manage to listen, I don't think we need to resort to timing out. That's for naughty children, and I don't believe you're one of those, Sachin. But I helped you realize to back down a bit. No, I don't. I think that's fine. I think we've cleared that up. I think sometimes, and I do think this happens on YouTube, I think sometimes different channels have different vibes. Like, I follow lots of different channels. They all have different vibes. Some of them I sort of interact with a bit more. Some of them I like to listen to because I find them interesting for information. But I don't necessarily get involved because I feel like the chats are a little bit rough and ready. And that's not where I'm at. Also, obviously, the last few days, I've not had a very good few days with my kitty cat and stuff as well. So, no, just nice, chilled out, calm chat about Phil. So let's get stuck into it. Yes, Wells, it's only a yellow card this time. Like, if it was rugby, it'd be in the sin bin. We wouldn't send you off. It's all right. It's all right. But yeah, I was going to say Shem's phrase, you're one of us. I don't know if you've seen that over the last few days, Shem. We have a new mantra for the channel. You're one of us. Huge is huge. Huge. The Tea Titan is put in a super chat. Our vibe is for the greater good. Genuinely, someone from YouTube is going to come and watch one of my shows, because they have to check you out when you're monetized to make sure you're not insane. I might fail that check, as might all of ye. So let's just slow the roll. But yes, thank you to Huge, first of all, for putting a super chat in. I still get I can't believe, like, I'm monetized. They let me, right? So there's a big internet. There's loads of people on it, right? And I come into this little box room in my house with my mic that I borrowed from my live-in IT support, and I talk to you all about football and my opinions and waffle about nonsense, right? And then people have allowed me to receive money for that. People are giving me money for that. I love you all. I love all of you. You are all fantastic, whether we disagree or agree sometimes. Unfortunately, Sachin, he's not going to get better. He passed away. He passed away yesterday. So yeah, that probably doesn't help my my temperament very much. You might have got the raw end of the stick there. Yes, fake it till you make it. I've been living my life by that mantra. Wills is saying, one of us, whether you like it or not. Yes, we do love the support. Part of the crew, part of the ship. Which one of us is the part of the ship? Do you know, with this statue, or it's probably not called a statue when it's in wood. Do you know the bust that bees on the front of the old ships? Which one of us is that? I vote Shem. I think we should put Shem at the front of the ship. Sachin, oh, you met me. Soz, yeah. Hopefully I will improve at some point. Probably less caffeine would help, to be fair. But yes, right. Let's get to the subject at hand. Phil Foden. So let me see. Let me share what I can see so you can see. Now, this, as you can see, it is in the Sun, but to be fair, it's mostly just factual information and it's all in one spot, so it made it a little bit easier for me. So let us zoom. Thomas Tuchel has cast huge doubt over whether Phil Foden will make England's World Cup squad. Foden looks increasingly likely to miss out on this summer's tournament after two unconvincing performances for the Three Lions, despite starting in both the 1-1 draw with Uruguay and the 1-0 loss to Japan. There he is, looking absolutely delighted, clearly, and there's a very happy manager. Love it. They pick the worst pictures of people for this stuff. The attacking midfielder has also been struggling with his form at Manchester City, and asked if Foden could miss out, Tuchel said, "Well, it's not a guarantee that he will come. He tried everything. I would say he was excellent in camp, but yes, he struggles to show it on the pitch. Obviously, he didn't have a lot of minutes for City recently. Then he came to camp with the brightest smile and was so good in training. And I thought he will just surprise us and will play with the same verve and excitement. But yes, he struggles to have the full impact." Asked if he could take a struggling player to the World Cup, Tuchel laughed. I can. The question would be if we will." So, not filling us full of confidence. Foden, who is on a reported 225k a week at City, was the FWA and PFA Player of the Year 2 seasons ago, but has suffered, Sachin, are you listening? An alarming dip in form. So I wasn't quite this dramatic, but this is what I was referencing because I knew what I was going to read. Although he has played 44 times for England, he has rarely been at his best for the Three Lions and has scored just 4 times. Foden is competing for a place with the likes of Jude Bellingham, Anthony Gordon, Morgan Rogers, Marcus Rashford and Eberechi Eze. He started Friday's clash with Uruguay as a number 10 and against Japan on Tuesday played as a false 9 due to the absence of the injured Harry Kane, whose foot injury is not believed to be serious. So, I mean, Tuchel isn't exactly being like, no, he's coming anyway, don't worry about it. He's like, well, he's struggling. I'm seeing what he's doing. He's working hard. He's putting in, the actions and the attitude on the training ground, but it's not translating on the pitch. I can take him, but will I? Will I take a struggling player to the World Cup? He's just left that out there. He's left it very open. He's not giving anything away. But we're going to go to the next bit. We're going to go to the next bit in a minute, but I see the chat is popping off. So let me see what you guys are saying. Bonkers is in the house. Big up to Bonkers. Nice to see you, my friend. Let me see. You're having a bit of a chat in there. That's all right. We're doing a geography lesson in the chat. I mean, it's fantastic. I love it. I love how random our chat is. It makes me laugh so much. Sam is in the house. Welcome to our Sam. We haven't seen you in a little bit. Have you taken the international break off like some people do? Some people need to recharge. We haven't seen our Sam in a little while. Sam is saying, well, we take injured players, so we probably will just take him. I mean, fair enough. Bonkers is saying Foden has been poor this season. So, after I saw this little article about what Thomas Tuchel had to say about how, he's not translating onto the pitch. He's doing it on the training ground, but he's not translating it onto the pitch. So, he can take him, but will he? And the thing is, that's a fair point. I mean, you take injured players. You've definitely taken out of form players before. It's certainly a possibility that he goes. He hasn't shut it down. He's just left it very vague. Sachin is saying, I hope England do not take him, to be fair. He has been scapegoated for years now. So you're hoping, Sachin, because I'm assuming your concern is if you take him and you don't perform the way people would like, Phil Foden will take a lot of that blame. So you'd rather he didn't go, so then he can't get the blame. You'd have to look at what the actual issue is. Now, I've put a lot of words on your single sentence, so let me know if I'm wrong, because those are words that I'm putting in your mouth. So if that's not right, tell me. Sam is saying, can't stand internationals, although I can't miss them. What did we learn from these friendlies? Not much to me. So more so of what we want to take. And yes, so Sachin is saying England are going to crash out irrespectively. So yes, that's what he meant. Lucky is in here, lovely Lucky, and is determined, is sticking to this Sandro Tonali deal like glue. He's selling everybody and he's determined to get Tonali. I'll tell you what, if Lucky worked for Manchester United, I feel like we would buy more players, 100%. But not only have these sort of comments come out from Tuchel, who, to be fair, was directly asked about it, and he has to be somewhat honest. He can't be like, yeah, he was unreal, if everybody is saying, well, he wasn't great, because then people will lose confidence in Tuchel. To be like, he's blind, he can't see what's happening on the pitch. What is he talking about? So he has to be somewhat honest, or he loses credibility as the manager, and he can't afford to do that. But not only have those comments come out, but then I saw a number of stories about Phil Foden's value has dropped. And I thought, okay, well, that's another indicator. So he's struggling, or he's not guaranteed to travel with the national squad, which in previously he would have been. He would have been a guarantee. He would have been one of the first names on the sheet. Now he's not, okay? Then we look at these stories about his value dropping. So I thought, right, let's have a look at it. So I'm on Transfer Market. Once we read this, I'm also going to go into how Transfer Market assign these values, because obviously, well, not obviously, but when I see these things, I'm like, okay, well, where does that number come from? Like, has somebody just picked that number? Is it someone like me sitting at a desk going, well, he's fell off a bit this season, let's drop 20 off his price tag? So I'm going to go into what the values are, and then I'm going to talk about where those values come from, so you guys at least understand, whether you agree or disagree, you'll understand where they're actually plucked out of. JJ the Bottle Strand TV has joined us. Big up to JJ. Sam is saying, I like Tuchel, but how much say does he have? Because to me, nothing has changed. Interesting. Now, let's go to Transfer Market. So you should now be able to see, this is a graph of Phil Foden's market value. So there he is, Phil Foden. You know, I'm not making it up. This is obviously in euro. I'm in the Eurozone, so this makes sense to me. Apparently, it works out at about £17 million in sterling in your money. But this is the graph of his value over time. So this is from January 2018, okay? And as you can see, it more or less, it has a little bit of a dip here, but it more or less rises all the way up here. This is the maximum value he's shown at being. Now, they say here 150 million, which sounds completely insane. Although, to be fair, given the price of some players that they're being sold for, it's not as insane as it first appears. But this was the highest value kind of recorded for him. This was in May of 2024. Since May of 2024, we can see the trajectory has gone all the way back down, just over time. And the last one they've put in was December of 2025. So they tend to do it kind of every 6 months, kind of twice a year seems to be the ballpark, okay? So based on this, apparently his value has come down. Now, we are going to look at where that comes from. Sachin is saying, I assume the peak was when he won City the league. I mean, I'd assume the other players would argue that they had something to do with that, but maybe. It's, as I said, it was in 2024. What did I say? That is May 2024. That was the peak. But it was improving kind of consistently all the way up and then down, okay? That seems to be kind of the last 2 seasons, does sort of seem to be when most people would agree that his form has fallen off, okay? Rob is saying, his form is awful, Lou. I wouldn't want him at United. Let me see. Sam is agreeing with Bonkers. It was a pointless friendly. And Wales, oh, you are talking about different friendlies. Sorry, I've jumped into your conversation. I've jumped into your conversation entirely. JT is saying, yeah, that was definitely when he had the most impact in the title charge. There you go, Sachin. JT says yes. Let me see. Sam is saying, I've never rated Foden as high as other people, but he is a good player. May have had a bit of a stale time, or has he reached his ceiling? How old is he? I believe Phil Foden is 25, but let me double check that I'm not lying to you. Yes, he's 25. He was born in 2000. And he's 25. So in May, he'll be 26 in May. His birthday is in May, and that's when he will be 26. But what I want you to know is, okay, that's great that we can see all of these, values, but how do they come up with the value? Like, is it fair? Who decides? So I went and had a look, and this is just from the Google AI. So Transfer Market assigns player values by using a wisdom of the crowd approach. It's not an algorithm. So it's done by user discussions in community forums. So essentially kind of fan opinion, moderated by experts who obviously are more into the football field, evaluate factors like performance, age, injury history, which is important because that's what teams are looking at now, contract length, because obviously the shorter the contract, the less they're worth, and market trends to estimate a player's worth in a free market rather than predicting an exact transfer fee. So they're putting a value on him. They're not saying this is exactly how much you would get if you sold him. This is what he would be valued at based on all of these different attributes and based on opinion, because to be fair, when you buy players, opinion is important. The opinion of the people buying him, the opinion of the club, the opinion of the other players he's going to play with, and the opinion of the fans of the club that are selling and buying. It all comes into it. So key performance factors, which is one of the things they look at, include performance statistics, goals, assists, league level, player age, injury records, and that all significantly impacts valuation. Market factors such as the current transfer market, because obviously at the moment, the current transfer market, players are valued much more highly than they were, say, like 5 years ago. So it moves with the value of the transfer market. Supply and demand for specific positions. Obviously, if there's more attacking midfielders available, other attacking midfielders, value would drop. If there's more, if loads of people are looking for goalkeepers, but there's very few. We saw last summer, loads of teams looking for strikers. If there's not as many strikers available, that would drive the price up. So it makes sense. Supply and demand, we all know about that. Contract status, we know about. And so they update those twice a year minimum, depending on the league and player activity, to keep up with the market. So that's how they determine it. So there's a lot of factors basically that go into determining that. Just so it gives you the idea, because obviously sometimes it feels like these numbers are plucked out of nowhere. I thought you might enjoy knowing where kind of the information comes from. Let me see. Lucky is saying, as a football fan, the England manager is right not to take players who are not going to score goals, which is fair, and a lot of fans might feel that way. Sam is saying possibly he's reached his ceiling or needs a fresh challenge. Maybe City, new manager, may unlock more of Foden, which is obviously alluding to all of the rumours about the fact that Pep is going to be leaving. And I am going to be doing a video on that, because let's not forget, quite some time ago, I did a video with our lovely Kate of Kate and Jimbo, and I had a chat with her on a Sunday afternoon, I think about 12 o'clock probably, and I told her of my theory on Pep Guardiola. Now all of a sudden everyone's talking about it 2 months later. So I will at some point do an up-to-date video on that, but so potentially if there's a new manager, it might change. Sometimes a change is as good as a rest. That's a very good phrase, and it's completely right. So that's another one. JT is saying, I think it's performance anxiety. The first time he was supposed to be the main man, he couldn't get it up. And under Pep, that makes most players look better than they are. It's very worrying. Sam is saying you wouldn't pay 80 million for him. To be fair, that's 80 million euro. It's 70 million pound. I don't know if that makes a difference to you, but it's 70 million pounds. So it is a bit less. To be fair, 10 million's a lot. Let me see. Rob is saying, I think he's a 65 million player. That'd be 65 million pound. JT is saying, I think what would help him is to leave City and challenge himself, build some character and reinvent himself. That could be massive. Sometimes you get stuck in a rut. Sometimes you need a change. And if the manager changes or doesn't change, maybe a change of environment, maybe a new project, a new challenge, exactly what JT is saying, that might be the thing. Sometimes we need that. I'm the type of person, I get very bored very easily. I'm not the type of person who can stay in a fixed position for a long period of time. I can't do it. My brain doesn't operate that way. I need to be doing things and I need to be doing new things. I get bored. So I need to change my environment regularly. Maybe there's a lot of people that are like that. Maybe that's how he is. He's gotten a rut and he needs to just pull himself out of the place where the rut is. Completely possible. Let me see. Sachin is saying, I do think Pep has used him too much as a fix. Wherever he has holes now, seemingly has just dropped him out of the blue. And I do think when that's done with any player, that's incredibly unfair. Because when you take a player out of what is potentially their best position and you use them as a fixer-upper, as you change your system, as you change your style of play, you ask them to do different things, they go and do the different things for you. And then when you're done with them, you're like, okay, I'm done with you now. Goodbye. That, I don't like that. You drop them like a hot snot. I know it's competitive. I know you have to get the best out of the team. I know your kind of loyalty isn't to a single player, it's to the team. But again, we go back to this conversation we keep having, which is man management. If somebody gives you everything outside of their comfort zone and then you drop them the minute you don't need them anymore, that is not good man management. And like we've seen it. So Bruno this season for United was played consistently out of position for months and months and months and months. He wasn't particularly good as a midfielder, but somehow he was still doing pretty okay compared to some of the other players we have. If somebody had then come in and dropped him, rather than putting him back to a 10, it's a bit, it would rub you up the wrong way. It's not going to encourage you to do better. Lucky is saying, Tuchel, my advice is you should take Rashford, Eze, Ben White, Maguire, Kobbie Mainoo, Dan Burn and Lewis Miley. In the England team, we want anybody to score goals other than Harry Kane. Yes. I know. See, Euro for me is my currency, so it's not weird for me. So sometimes I forget to remind ye that it's Euro because obviously. Sam is saying, I think Pep can starve individual flair and creativity for the good of the system and the team. Completely agree. I did a video there a little while ago on Jack Grealish. That was exactly my point. Completely agree. JT is saying, imagine as a City Academy star in that era is like being born into a super rich family. Everything works in your favour, no adversity, and when you finally face adversity, you don't know what to do. And that sometimes it can be a shock to the system as well. And Sachin says, it kind of tracks with his comments about the team, though. Pep does not know his strongest 11 this season. And I think that much is obvious because I think not just Phil Foden, I think overall City have fallen off, not just this season, but last season. So I do believe Phil Foden's in a slump. I do believe he's not playing to his best. I do believe he's not as good as he has been before. However, neither is anybody else at City. Neither is Pep Guardiola. Nobody is. So it's not about scapegoating him and picking on one player, but he's the player that seems to be talked about. So it's interesting to look into it further. That doesn't mean everyone around him isn't also dropping off. They are, obviously. Wills is saying, for me, one of Phil Foden's biggest problems is no one knows what his best position is. Jack of all, but not master of none. And I do think that holds some players back because all the managers want a jack of all trades. All of the managers want a player that can play everywhere, a utility player, someone to fill in the gaps because it suits them. But what you really want is an expert, because if you're an expert, you can be the best. You can make yourself undroppable because nobody else can do the thing as good as you. Where you're decent at everything, you are kind of replaceable. When you're the best at one thing, you have to be in. So like, look at Haaland. Haaland doesn't do all the things that Pep likes. Haaland doesn't, like, he's not the type of player Pep would normally go for, but he's so good, then I think you can't drop him. So, because he's an expert. Do you know what I mean? And I think that does make the difference. But let us go to the next. No, let us not. What is this disgrace? What is this disgrace? I have to verify this information. Flossie is telling me there's 16 people watching this stream and only 9 of you have hit the like button. Come on now, lads. Come on, get the thumbs out, hit the like button. Please and thank you very much. JT says that's a good point. Right, let's go to the next bit. So we've talked about, okay, the struggles with the England team. We've talked about the falling value. We've talked about how they work out the value, because I thought that was a fair thing to bring in. And then, like you, I started to look at why. Why has this slump come? Why has this drop-off happened? Why is he no longer like this star player that everybody wants, the next Kevin De Bruyne? Because that's what he was labelled as, the next Kevin De Bruyne. He was going to step into the slot, and then he just didn't. So it's a little bit like, what happened? So I thought, right, well, a lot of people talk about when Haaland came in, Pep started to change the system. So normally he wouldn't have ever played around one player. It was very possession-based, build up. His style of play has somewhat changed since Haaland has joined the team. And I thought, okay, has that really drastically contributed to the fall off of Phil Foden? But the thing is, Haaland joined in 2022. Phil Foden's fall off has really only been the last 2 seasons. Before that, he was doing very well. So it can't really be that. And then I thought, okay, if it's not Haaland, maybe it's De Bruyne. Because De Bruyne was so incredibly key. He was so key. And obviously then, as a lot of people are saying, like, the pressure was on. Because, and this was what I heard, like, for like, a lot of people were sort of saying he was going to be the Kevin De Bruyne replacement. Kevin De Bruyne was going to leave and Phil Foden was going to step into the breach. Obviously, he was never going to be Kevin De Bruyne, but that he was the Kevin De Bruyne replacement. And like, again, bringing it back to United, a lot of our fans were already talking about, okay, who was going to be the Bruno replacement when he goes? Who's going to be the Casemiro replacement at the end of the season? You have a lot of the Liverpool fans now saying, who's going to be the Salah replacement when Salah goes? And I think, do you see when a player is that just absolutely brilliant, sometimes there just is no direct replacement. Sometimes you just can't replace them, because they're not the same player. You're never going to get that exact player ever again. And so to put that expectation, you're setting the person up for failure. Because even if they're just as good, but differently, you're going to mark them as, oh, well, they're not this person. So I think sometimes that can create a barrier in your brain a little bit, that sort of, you're setting them up before it's even happened. But then we have, I saw Sachin there. To be fair, he performed when De Bruyne was injured in the title-winning season. So you're going, okay. So it's not when Haaland came in, and it's not when De Bruyne left. Because to be fair, De Bruyne only left 25. And that, so Sachin, it's taken us 33 minutes, but we've agreed on something. Woohoo! So also a very good point. You can never replace a player one-to-one. That kind of narrative is always negative on players. Completely agree. I see Nathan has joined us. Hello to Nathan. Welcome back to us. Huge is saying, I just believe people don't understand what Foden is. Foden is a goal-scoring midfielder that doesn't really do much in build-up. He never learned or was relied on for creativity because they had Kevin De Bruyne. Now, I didn't give up on my search, people. So I thought, okay, well, it's not Haaland and it's not Kevin De Bruyne. What is it? And I was like, no, we're going to find out what this is. We're going to solve the Phil Foden Bermuda Triangle falling off mystery, okay? So I'm having the best time with Excel the last few days. I've made a chart. See, from I did that very first table, what were we doing? The relegation? No, the top 5 battle. See, since then, every day I'm like, what kind of chart can I make today? I did make a different chart as well. I'll show you later on. I've been having so much fun. Guys, genuinely, I'm having the time of my life. It's like a 5-year-old that is learning how to do drawings on a computer. I'm loving my life. They look probably like the most basic things ever, but I'm loving it. So I made a chart, and I'm going to put my chart on the screen while I read some more of your comments. Hopefully you guys will be able to read this. You've got the season, the number of appearances, the number of starts out of those appearances, the total minutes played, any injuries, time missed due to those injuries, goals, assists, total goals and assists put together, just so you don't have to calculate it in your head. And according to the heat map, so I haven't just plucked this out of my brain and made it up myself. This is from the heat maps, which I will show you. Okay. So again, not my opinion. This is based on heat maps. Okay. So we'll talk about that in a second, but I want to read some of your comments, because your comments are just my favourite. Lucky is saying Arsenal is going to win the Premier League. Well, Wills is going to be pleased with that. JT says, the question is, did Pep or Foden ever see him as Kevin De Bruyne replacement, or was it just the fans? So again, really good question, because really, it seems to be mostly the fans, if I'm being honest with you. I don't know. Maybe Pep has said something about it, but not that I've seen. It does seem to be primarily a fan theory, and not just City fans, rivals. So yes, Wills is saying, my red flag for Foden was the 007 World Cup after winning Player of the Year. Very fraudulent behaviour. Are you Hussam in disguise? Let me see. Yes, XL is fun. Wills is saying he's a one-season wonder by the looks of those numbers. And Sachin is saying, whatever happened to him in the Euros, he returned a different player, fully broken mentally, which is a really sad thing. But let's take a look at this a little bit deeper, okay? Obviously, this season is not over. There's 7 more matches, so he may get more appearances. He might end up matching or exceeding last season's appearances. He's already beaten the number of starts, okay? So let's look at this compared to kind of the goals and assists. And Wills here is clearly discussing this season. 35 appearances, head and shoulders, okay? The only one that's even close was 22-23, where he played 32. But he started in 33. He played 1,000 minutes more in 23-24 than he did in 22-23. The next most minutes he played was in 21-22, okay? Then we look, I've got the breakdown here, but I'll look at the GA for you because that's what a lot of people look at. But I have the breakdown if you guys want to see it anyway, okay? So this season, he's got 10. And as I said, we've still got 7 matches left, so he might play more. This might go up a little bit. But again, he's already beaten last season. So in my head, I actually thought he had been worse this season than last season, but the figures tell me he's not. Last season was definitely worse, and this season potentially has the chance to improve even more. So he's already exceeded last season, and he might do better. So he may end up getting kind of closer to 21-22. Not in minutes, even maybe, probably not in minutes played, but in terms of appearances, starts, goals and assists, okay? But the one really that stands out is this one. But not only does it stand out for appearances, starts, minutes played, goals and assists, what it stands out for is his injuries. So I wouldn't have thought of Phil Foden as an injury-prone player. So we've talked about a lot this season, Cole Palmer, Phil Foden, not because they're the same player, but because they're 2 players that were thought to have incredibly high ceilings that are now kind of considered to have had a fall off of late, okay? So I'm going to do a show like this, but on Cole Palmer as well. But I was really curious about Phil Foden because actually he's the player I would know the least about. So I would know a bit about Jack Grealish before I did that show. I know a little bit about Palmer before I did that show. I don't pay a huge amount of attention to City. So Phil Foden was actually the most mysterious to me. He was the one I knew the least about. So actually, this level of injuries really surprised me. Okay. And then I thought, well, to be fair, he's missed the most days here, but it's not his worst season. Like the worst season, he's actually not missed as many days. I know it's not by much, but you get what I mean. And then I saw here and I was like, well, this season, he's had no injuries and look what he did. He was magical. But it's not just about the days missed when he's had injuries. What I've noticed, and I want to bring you back to transfer market for this because this is the most interesting part. And maybe some of you guys know this, but I didn't. So I went to transfer market and I went to Phil Foden's injury history, which is where I got these specific stats about his injury. And I want to show this to you. So let us share this tab. You should now be able to see, and let me see if I can zoom for you guys, okay? So this goes from the oldest up, okay? So you can see here, that was a foot injury for 40 days, the appendectomy for 23 days. Then he had like a flu, a cold, unknown injury. Then it was the ankle, then it was the ankle, then it was the ankle. So while they're shorter, it's the same thing over and over and over. And for all we know, this was an ankle as well because it's unknown. This here says foot. The ankle is a part of your foot. Now, I don't know, maybe they would have specified, but certainly the last 3 injuries have been ankle injuries. It's one thing having a large number of injuries or, injury after injury, but to have the same injury over and over and over again, that is a problem. That is going to impact his performance. Also, your ankle is quite important in football. So if he keeps hurting it, he's going to be aware, I keep hurting this. It's going to be in his head. How he plays on that ankle is going to be different. And we all talk about it's not just a physical game, it's a mental game. So for me, ankle injury, and they coincide with the same seasons that a lot of us would consider he has had a drop off. Coincidence? I don't think so. I think that's it there. He keeps hurting his ankle. He's now cautious about using his ankle. No? Yes? Let me read some of your comments after I've dropped the mic. Let me see what you guys think. Let me scroll. Oh my God, you lot have been busy. I've read that. Yeah, so basically every season a different position, yeah, which isn't helping him either. And I will show you those heat maps. Don't let me go without showing you the heat maps because I want you to see those. Let me see. Outside the City fan base, aren't we all aware about the ceiling of Foden? I don't think you can say we all. I don't think you can count everybody into the same category. No, I think you can only really speak for yourself. Can I calculate another column that calculates GA per 90? How do I do that? Do I just divide that by the number of minutes he played? I don't know. I'll have to look up how to do that. I'm not that good at maths. I can write the formula if you tell me what to write it. Soz. Although, to be fair, they probably have that on SofaScore. I might be able to get that very easy instead of me having to do it. So let me check that. Let me star that, JT, and I'll see if I can go back to it. Sachin is saying his 22-23 season was better in your opinion. He was so crucial in those tough Champions League games along with Bernardo. And sometimes that's it. It's not about volume. It's about the importance as well. So that is a good point from Sachin, to be fair. Nathan likes my research. Thank you. Interesting to know if Pep has actually ever developed a young player into a world-class player. Well, that's a can of worms. Bonkers, yeah. Stats by Lou. Let me see. If you look at City's season when Kevin De Bruyne was out and Foden was doing well, they were third and lost 3 games and 4 draws. And when Kevin De Bruyne was bad, they only had 3 draws. And so that's it. It depends what stat you look at as well. Nathan is saying, my understanding is that Foden is just a piece of the chess which Pep plays, and Foden wouldn't work outside City's system. No wonder he is a ghost in the English national team. I think that's unfair. I think Foden is a very talented player, and I actually think the chessboard of Pep might be what is stifling his ceiling, to be honest with you, at the moment. Let me see. Sorry, guys, I just don't want to jump into the middle of your conversations, because if I only pull one comment out, it takes away the context. So I'm reading through them here as we go. Sorry, guys. I'm reading. You're saying very interesting things, and I'm reading them. I'm trying my best. But as the chat gets busier, obviously, there's going to be... Normally, when it's only a few of us, I can read all of them. But when there's more and more of us, obviously there's more chat. I'm not going to be able to see everything. But I'm doing my best to try and make sure everybody's involved and everybody gets comments read out and stuff. Let me see. Yes, Sachin, it is quite clear that Nathan does not rate Foden, which is fair enough because that's his opinion, but obviously we only speak for ourselves. JT, KF divided by 90. Okay, let me see. Right, let's try this live. That's going to be interesting. So you said KF, right? Let me make the column, test column, and we want to do where is my equals? Equals. We need our brackets. KF divided by K4. Let me see. Star 90. Enter. That didn't work. I put what you... Oh, no. No, I didn't. I didn't put what you said at all. I did not. I'm lying to you. Right. Okay. So I'm going to pull this through and you're going to tell me if it's correct. So I have done JT's calculation. It's there in the last column that says new. What I will do is I will round down the number of... Yeah. Can I do that as a group or do I have to do it all one by one? There you are. That's what you said. So there you go. I don't know if that's right, but I followed your instructions to the letter. Okay. Yes, it's lovely. It's lovely to grow. Thank you, guys. And I did see Bonkers. Bonkers said the same thing as well. So thank you, guys. But yes. Do we think so? I know obviously the Pep debate is raging on in the chat. I see that, and whether Pep has developed him, not development, made him as a bit part player, not a bit part player, etc., etc. But leave Pep alone for a wee minute. Come back to the injuries. Ankle injury, ankle injury, ankle injury. What do we think about that? Because I didn't realize that he was having the same injury over and over and over again. That, to me, for any player, is a problem and it's going to impact you. Is that something that you think is important? Do you think it's a big influential factor? Do you think it certainly could contribute to the drop-off? For me, it's let me go back to this for a second. For me, it's this, like foot, ankle, ankle, ankle. That would concern me. You play football on your feet. Sachin is saying, to be fair, I did not think he was injured as often. Kind of mad. Either did I, Sachin. He's not, when you think of injury-prone players, he's not one that springs to your mind. And now that I've seen it, I can't unsee it. And I just think you can't take that out. That has to be a factor. How can it not be? Do you know what I mean? And anybody, like, if you've ever broken something or sprained something, or you've damaged a particular part of your body, you are more careful with that part of your body. If you've hurt it multiple times, you're going to be more and more careful. So let me see. Sam is saying, I knew he was picking up injuries. That could be the stalemate bit. And that, do you know, that's it too. And this is where maybe you do then bring Pep in. So he's getting these injuries over and over and over and over again. But maybe because he's being played in different positions all the time as a bit part player, he can't get used to, the muscles aren't getting used to which parts of his body are moving all the time. Because obviously in different positions, you're moving in different ways. Can that contribute? Maybe. And I don't know, it's a suggestion. Jenny's here. Hi, everyone. I've been missing the teacups. Happy to be here, if only for a few minutes. Very welcome to our very lovely Jenny. It is nice to see you. Hugh just saying it could be something, but we can't let injuries as an excuse, because Bale had injuries, Kevin De Bruyne had injuries. The thing is, they did eventually then move on. Like, I think Kevin De Bruyne kind of knew, right, it's not an excuse entirely, but it does impact how you play. It does impact. I've said this about Martinez. Martinez at United, I love him. He's fantastic. He's an injury-prone player. The injuries he's getting are serious. The injuries he's getting are impacting him each time he comes back, and then he's out again. I would sell him. I think he's a very good, very talented, very likable personality and player. He's injury prone. He's going to keep getting them. Therefore, I would sell him, because he can't do what we need him to do. Even if he wants to, even if we want him to, he can't. So yes and no. Yes and no. I think when you're paying somebody as much as supposedly Phil Foden is being paid, I think that's a massive amount of money for somebody who's maybe not. When we talked about signing off the summer, one of the criteria we put in for signing off the summer was availability. That was one of the criteria to be a really good player. It was good value, it was talent, it was what have they added to the team, it was availability. And I think that's important as well. And Sachin is saying, Kevin De Bruyne gave up his hamstring for trophies. Mad respect. And that's true, but not every player is going to be built like that. Like, that's incredible, but it's incredible because it's not the norm. It's incredible because it's not the kind of thing a person should or would normally do. So I do think, while that's fantastic, I don't think we can expect it from every player, if that makes sense. It's outside the norm. Let me see. Bonkers is saying, like, Frimpong getting a hamstring injury at Liverpool, he didn't get them at Leverkusen. And so that's it. If you're playing in a different way, you're using different muscles, you're training in a different manner, you're working with a different medical team, you're doing different recovery routines. So after you've trained or played, they'll have different recovery routines. Sometimes you have to find the thing that works for the player. So back to Man United, because that's what I know the most about. So if we think about Anthony Martial at Manchester United was perpetually injured. All the time, the man was just constantly injured. He moved off, he was playing elsewhere, he was playing in a less intense league. He's living in a different climate. He's living in the heat, which helps the recovery. He's training in a different way. It's not as intense. It's not as hard on his body. And all of a sudden, he went on this just super duper long run of just never being injured. Sometimes the injuries impact how the player's playing, but how the player's being played impacts the injuries. It all feeds into each other. It's all linked, 100%. Sam is saying, shocker here, but I would sell Palmer. Something is screaming at me. He's going to be injury prone and he has a lazy attitude. Sam, stay tuned, because exactly the kind of show I've done tonight on Phil Foden, I'm going to be doing one of these about Cole Palmer. He is next on my list. Grealish was at the top. And then I wanted to know about Phil Foden just for my own nosy sake. The next one is going to be Cole Palmer. I don't know when it's going to be, because obviously football's starting to come back. So I'm going to get it done. But it'll be easier now that I'm doing the 2 streams a day. But it will be coming. So keep your eyes peeled. Jenny Jenny is a new member. Welcome to Jenny. She is now an official part of our very lovely teacup crew. So very, very welcome to Jenny. Big up to her. JT is saying a reoccurring injury is definitely different from an injury you fully recover from. That's where it is different for me. I agree with that. Also, of course, the best way is to evolve the game to accommodate for the penalties from injuries. And that's true too. Like when your physicality changes, your injury changes, your way of being able to play changes, you have to change with it. You have to adapt yourself, which I think is probably what Hugh is getting at, is you can't just say, right, well, I'm injured all the time now, I can't play anymore. You have to go, okay, this thing is now a part of me. It's going to keep happening. What can I do to make it happen less or impact me less or change my game to suit it? So I think that probably ties in very much with what Hugh was saying. Wills and Sachin are chatting away there. I am not getting involved in that one. I am actually officially being Irish in that one. I'm being a neutral in that discussion because it's one of those that kicks off people. It's very interesting, but it's a little bit bitey. So I'm going to leave Sachin and Wills to belt away there. If you guys want to have a read of it, they're having a great old discussion in it. It's not anything bad. They're having a good old discussion. But if I start saying that, we'll be here for another hour. So use belt away, lads. I am reading it, but we'll be here for another hour if I open that can of worms. Let me see. Nathan is saying, so Nathan played football and said every injury changed him, every injury made him a different player, and the ACL ended his career altogether. Let me see. Yes, Jenny is one of us. Let me see. Huge. I can just read your mind. Let me see. Yes. Yes. Team, crew, not a cult. Don't be silly. Jenny, you will now be able to see the new stickers. We have a gremlin sticker for when the IT goes wrong. We have an IT support sticker for when I need help. We have a Kool-Aid tea sticker for when everybody drinks the Kool-Aid and loses the run of themselves. And we have not a cult. We have a sticker of not a cult, which is quite fun. Yes, welcome to the tea party. And guys, we're going to end now in the next minute or so. Let me just read Sachin's comment here and then we will finish up, okay? One thing about Foden, he is kicked around a lot in the Premier League. It's true for most small players. This does happen to smaller stature players. Maybe he needs to reinvent himself into more of a silky dribbler, which he was when he broke through. And I think then we probably all agree on that about what he's doing isn't working. He has had a slump, okay? And to say he's had a slump isn't an agenda. It's a fact. He has had a slump. The numbers have fallen off, we can see. But also his team has fallen off and there are clearly extenuating factors. I would suggest, based on everything we've looked at, while other things might have impacted it, look, having to step into the breach after Kevin De Bruyne officially left instead of having him there kind of as a backup or a mentor, you know, the pressure of more and more and more. I feel like each season Pep has sort of adapted more and more to Haaland and moved further and further away from the style. But for me, probably the biggest thing is the injuries, the recurring injury on the same part of his body that is a key part of the sport that he plays. And I think a lot of us have agreed at this point that he probably needs to reinvent himself, whether that's at Manchester City, whether it's under a different manager, whether it's at a different club. He needs to now develop into a different style of play. He needs to evolve into the next level or find what works for him now, because what he was doing is no longer working. So now he needs to find, okay, what is the new way? He can't just say, right, well, this always worked for me. I was really good at this. So now I'm going to keep doing it even though it's not working. He has to now take ownership of his own career and development and say, this is what I need to do for me. This is what I'm going to do for me. That's where I'm at with him. He can't just stick his head in the sand and hopes it gets better. He needs to do something. Sachin is saying he has looked very good when playing deeper, though, especially this season. And just on that, let me, because I'll forget otherwise, let me share this tab before we go. So I'm going to go back to 2021. So do you remember I said about the heat maps, okay? So this is the 2021 season, okay? As you can see, he's more or less on the left wing. He's more or less like it's all red, okay? Then we go to 21, 22, still all down the left, okay? Then we go to 22, 23, still mostly down the left, a little bit more on the right, okay? Then we go to 23, 24, mostly on the right, but kind of spread across a little bit. Then we go to 24, 25, and he's essentially just sitting in here behind the striker, still slightly more to the right, but kind of across the centre. Now watch this, okay? So look where it is. It's quite high up near the box, right? Now let's look at this one for this season. He's much further back. It's not as deep red. He's spread back down here a bit. You've got some real hot spots here. He's playing much further back as a general rule this season. That again has an impact. So he's gone from side to middle to back. And that again is what we're talking about. When he's moving, he's having to change the muscles, change the style of play, change the things he's doing, which is impacting his body. And as many people have said, he's being used as a bit of a utility player, a bit of a bit part player. He's not being prioritized. He needs to prioritize himself. If nobody else puts you first, you have to do it. If you don't prioritize yourself, nobody else is going to do it for you. He needs to prioritize himself. Let me see. What are we saying? Oh, that's made me laugh. Oh, Rob, that's a good one. That's a good one. I like that. Sachin says Rodri coming back has kind of crashed both his and Turkey's minute. And to be fair, Turkey was doing fantastically this season, really brilliant. And I have thought of late has sort of dropped off what he was doing before. So that does tie in with what you're saying. Oh, yes. Aaron's cult name. He chose Moonshine Rose Petal. It was really funny. We even did a poll. We did a poll, Jenny. Oh, you're so cute. You're so cute. Love. Let me see. It's why I said it's unfair when people say he's been poor this season. You don't get fancy stats if you're a deep lying playmaker. So basically, like, obviously, the deeper you are, the less goals you're scoring, which is exactly what happened to Bruno. I still, for me personally, forget about the goals and assists. I still personally feel his overall play hasn't been as good. That's my opinion. But we can disagree on that. That's fine. Let me see. Sachin is saying he needs to sit down with Pep. He needs to sit down with Pep and stand down and make a case for himself. That much I do agree with. And actually, do you know what? In a funny way, I think that's the kind of thing that Pep would respect. I think Pep would respect that. Let me see. Andrew is saying, I would argue Saka, Palmer and Foden have all fallen off a year and a half ago, but the media like saying nothing about it. Well, never you mind the media. We don't need them. We've got it covered. Flossie is saying, but Andrew, it's all they've spoken about. So, I mean, I suppose it depends what media you're listening to, which is fair. JT with the question. Is Turkey playing the role Foden basically used to? So has Foden been moved out for Turkey? I just think Foden needs to go. I just think it's not a good match anymore. It was a good match. It worked really well. Things have changed. I think he needs to go. Do what's best for you. Stick up for yourself. Right, gang, guys, gals, crew, cult, subs, members, teacups. My goodness me, we're a motley crew. I think that is us for this evening. I am off to attempt to have something to eat after my dentist visit today. I hope ye all have an absolutely lovely evening. Thank you all so much for being here. Thank you for being so interactive. Thank you for getting your opinions in. Thank you for having a conversation about it, because when we're able to have a conversation, much more information gets out there. There's a much bigger understanding then between all of us. Great session. I mean, stream. Love to all. And that is the note we will end it on. Have a lovely evening, guys. Back tomorrow at 12 o'clock, okay? Have a good evening.